Kevin Harvick and the next-gen car have had a rocky relationship from the start. Rewind back to last July, long before the next-gen car ever made its debut, with rumors swirling around the car performing poorly in crash tests, including test dummies suffering what would be considered fatal injuries. The 2014 Cup Series champion sounded the alarm bell on potential safety issues with the new car.
In that car. Yeah, the only thing, I think, as we sat in the drivers meeting that NASCAR had with us to show us everything, I think that the most frustrating part of the whole process is the fact that the safety piece to the drivers and the conversation with the drivers, which was asked for by the drivers, was had at the very end of everything. And, I think as you look at that, I think it's just... I think the guys driving the cars are owed at least the respect enough to at least be a part of the process of what's going on. But I think it's that and the racetrack, and I think everybody's a little bit frustrated with just how all that's been handled.
Fast forward to this season. Harvick, like so many other drivers, struggled to get a handle on the new car. The proof was in the results, as he had multiple incidents where he inexplicably lost the car. But all of those missteps were forgotten last month in Michigan when the Stewart-Haas racing driver ended his 65-race winless streak and snagged a berth in the playoffs. Interestingly, before that win, the 46-year-old driver visited with reporters and was asked about the safety of the car, considering Kurt Busch's extended absence due to a concussion. Harvick didn't sugarcoat his answer.
I don't think you're making enough noise. It's never the first line item on the to-do list. So, I can tell you from a driver, every time I hit something, it's a lot harsher than any hit that I took in any of the other cars. The only thing I can compare it to is hitting a concrete wall compared to what it used to be. So, I think. That's the issue. It's not, you look at the cars and they're like, oh man, they look great. That's the problem. Nothing flew off of it, right? That's the problem, and all that energy is absorbed through you. So it feels like you get hit by the hammer and the car survives, but is that really what you want? Like, you know what I mean? So I think the cars are all together and that looks great, but it doesn't feel great. Did you get it?
On Sunday at Darlington, Harvick was having a solid race, running in the top 10 more than halfway through the event. Then, with 93 laps to go, everything dramatically changed as the right side of the number 4 car caught on fire. Harvick continued to drive the car, but video replay showed he was doing the impossible as smoke and more flames filled up the cockpit. Moments after coming to a stop and the flames growing in intensity, Harvick disconnected all of his hoses and calmly exited the car. Several minutes later, he gave his first interview on the fire and was understandably unhappy with the situation.
It's on the race car, like we've seen so many times. We haven't fixed anything. It's kind of like the safety stuff. We just let it keep going, and the car started burning. And as it burned, the flames started coming through the dash, and I ran a couple laps, and then, as the flame got bigger, and then it started burning stuff up, and I think right there you see all the brake fluid that was probably coming out of the brakes. It burned the brake line, but the fire was coming through the dash. So scary. What a disaster, man. No reason. We didn't touch the wall, we didn't touch the car, and here we are in the pits with a burned up car and can't finish the race during the playoffs because of crappy ass parts.
So to clarify, it was not an engine issue originally. It was a rocker panel fire.
Because I just stopped. The rocker was on fire for a couple laps. I just stopped because I couldn't see anymore because the flames were coming through the dash, and I couldn't make myself sit in there and burn up.
He wasn't done. Moments after the television interview, Harvick met with reporters and used more colorful language while taking direct aim at NASCAR.
We just keep letting cars burn up, letting people crash into stuff, get hurt. Like, we don't fix anything. Now we just riding around out there and the car catches on fire, so just hurts.
Your attitude at this point, obviously, you've been frustrated anyway, but how it affects your race.
Yeah, well, they don't care. It's cheaper to not fix it. How do we change it? Find somebody to run the show that can run it.
After the race, crew chief Rodney Childers took to Twitter and provided a more detailed explanation of what happened, effectively calling out NASCAR for creating the situation that has occurred multiple times this season and literally fanning the flames. The history books will show the next-gen car provided some exciting racing action in its first year on the track. That's what NASCAR wants fans to remember. But drivers like Kevin Harvick, who genuinely care about the sport and their own personal safety, have a much different version of events. The driver's version is a lot scarier and cause for concern about what might happen in the future. Based on what Harvick has repeatedly said, nothing is going to change.